Fox News alert. President Obama releasing a statement moments ago announcing the release of Army Sergeant Bowe Bergdahl, held captive by the Taliban in Afghanistan since 2009. Joining us now is General Jack Keane with some details and some insights on this. General, this is quite good news for the Bergdahl family as well as for all Americans who have been following his developments ever since his capture. And I was speaking with Jennifer Griffin, our Pentagon reporter, and we all recall what it was like that day he was captured and the video came out. It was extremely disheartening, but yet he's free today. Tell us about your reaction, sir.
Well, certainly it's really great news. And, you know, for his family to be sure, who've just been absolutely amazing, you know, going through this entire process and as emotionally stable as they have been and actually making a contribution. And, you know, certainly also his teammates who had to leave Afghanistan without their teammate. And that is a tough situation. So they're going to have a tremendous sense of relief. But everybody that knows the young sergeant, loves him, cares for him, is going to have a deep sense of relief. And certainly the American people at large, that he's finally released, no longer being manipulated by our enemy, and going home to his loved ones.
And as we heard, sir, from Jennifer Griffin earlier in this program, he is now in Germany receiving medical care. He looks tired and weary, as one would imagine after undergoing such a ordeal of being a prisoner of war. What is he likely going through psychologically, and how can we best help him return to his full stature?
Well, certainly you have to make the assumption that the emotional and psychological stress for 5 years took its toll. We have a lot of experience in dealing with this with former POWs and also with our own soldiers who experience battlefield stress. So he'll be in very good hands when he comes home in dealing with this, and, you know, gradually reintegrate him into his family, with his friends, and to his future life. All of that will take some time, and it'll take some adjustment to make.
General, this is obviously good news as well as for the Army, seeing that their comrade is back now, someone that they were in the battlefield with, as you mentioned. As a general, what do you say to your troops at this point in time? Well, the troops know full well, they go into the fight, that we're going to do everything we can to get everybody home. And that's part of our values. It's a code, it's a creed that every soldier on the battlefield understands. So there's no doubt in soldiers' minds that our government was doing what it could do to get this youngster out of there, and that kind of determination it took. And finally, you know, with the help of the Emir of Qatar, who appears to have had a hand in this to help negotiate this, we certainly got to pat him on the back for making this possible. I was going to ask you, that was my next question, about the fact that someone in the Arab world reached out to help the United States, the Emir of Qatar. What does this say about our relations, in terms of our foreign relations with that particular country, and trying to deal with these very tense situations facing the Taliban or Al-Qaeda? Well, they certainly have been working in the past to achieve some kind of reconciliation between the Taliban and the Afghan government and ourselves. So it's not surprising that they had a hand in this, because they have relationships with the Taliban. And specifically here, I think we'll probably discover that the Haqqani network has been holding them. At least that's certainly what the belief has been all along. And it's a credit to the Qatar government that they were willing to step forward. You know, everybody wants eventually some kind of political reconciliation, and we can't be too prejudgmental about what the implications of this are. It is what it is, and whether it would lead to something else in terms of reconciliation between the Afghan government and the Taliban certainly remains to be seen, and it would be a stretch to assume that something like that is around the corner. General, it is indeed good that he is released, but what concerns do you have about the nature of the conditions of his release? And that was to exchange him for 5 detainees at Guantanamo, 5 Afghan detainees. Those detainees, as you know, may end up on the battlefield in some future time against our very soldiers. Well, I think we have to make the assumption that that's likely to happen. That's just the harsh reality of it. But the fact of the matter is, from an American perspective and from a NATO perspective, our force levels are getting down very low. And in a couple of years we're going to be out of there entirely. So the risk to our troops from those 5 released out of Guantanamo is very slim. But make no mistake about it, I doubt if they had been rehabilitated at Guantanamo Bay, I would make the assumption that they would rejoin their teammates, they would be heralded as heroes and be welcomed back on the battlefield.
Well, we welcome back our own hero as well, and that is Sergeant Bowe Bergdahl. And General, we thank you for your service and thank you for your insights and perspective in terms of what's going on in his mind right now. And the good thing is that he's back with the U.S. troops and his family. Thank you, sir.
Good talking to you, Kelly.
All right.